I think I chose a very tricky sort of project to start off with, but the project that I chose for the Next Steps programme was about evaluating a staff's post, and it was about sort of figuring out the experience of that person in the post and getting some learning from it through sort of recruitment and retention principles, but also for development reasons for Band 6s too. So I used a lot of surveys to try and evaluate how that person was getting on in that post and extending that out to the teams that were supporting them. And then at the end, used those surveys and that information and presented it back to sort of the higher management levels so they can understand how the post is going, what's going well, what's not going well, what could be room for improvement, and how to support that individual better. And there were some themes as well that we took out for recruitment and retention as well.
So my Next Steps project was on neurodiversity in AHPs, and it was about providing an education session to raise awareness of what neurodiversity is, how it can impact the AHP profession, and what support there is for staff that have neurodiversity or think they might be neurodiverse within the trust and sort of further afield.
In terms of doing anything differently, I suppose I could have set my mind on a project that was going to be slightly smaller. I will say the only downside, and I don't know if I'm really very promotional, but the only downside of this is that you do have a day given to you if by your team, like a study day to work on the project. But because my project was so big, it took me a lot longer than just a singular study day to complete it. So I did find, because it was interesting for me and motivated me, I didn't mind spending a bit of extra time on it. But I will say, I think if I was to do it again, I'd try and choose a project that was a little bit more narrow so that it wouldn't take so long to kind of complete in the 4 months, and maybe divide my study leave time a little bit, sort of spread it out a little bit more than just using it up initially in I think the first few weeks or so.
There's a long time to do the project, and the time goes quickly, especially when you're doing other things. And there's a lot to gain from having different people involved and gaining different perspectives. And how do you think this looks? So I've created this PowerPoint, have you got any suggestions? And there's a lot of value there, and I don't think I did as much of that as I could because it got away from me a little bit. I'm still very happy with the outcome, but I feel like it could have flowed much better and been less stressful if I'd have thought more about time management and having some accountability to keep me on track.
Giving yourself time at the end before the presentation to actually write it up. I didn't. I think I gave myself a week to analyse like 7 or 8 surveys of multiple people to put that into a presentation. And although actually I ended up presenting it again to the managers, that process was all very frantic and kind of last minute. So I will say it's good to give yourself time to sort of round off your project where you were up to. You don't have to have completed it, to present that to sort of the rest of the sort of cohort that have achieved the programme. So giving yourself time to do that is definitely key.
The project is such a good opportunity to take what you've learned on the course and to apply it and to practice it and to try it out. To make mistakes and learn from them, and to build those skills which are just so useful as an AHP in so many different ways.